Hi friends, I'm Jason, the marketing professor, and I teach everyone from the student to the CEO the essentials of marketing in 5 minutes or less. Let's get started. Today I want to talk to you about one of the biggest time suck that faces all business owners, all students, well darn near everybody, and that's networking. One of the questions that I get a lot is, does networking really work? Okay, sit down, put your feet up. We're going to spend a couple of minutes really diving into this one. And then I'm going to tell you what my perception is of networking. Then I'm going to encourage you to run off and do your own thing. Here's the deal. When people talk about networking, they talk about going to a local chamber of commerce or a group lunch, or maybe it's a classroom club online, being part of B&I and other various networking groups. And the question is, does networking really work? Well, here's what I want you to think about. I'm going to break this down to 3 letters for you, and that is your ROI, okay? Your return on your investment for the time spent. Here's how I bring this up. I've worked with some small businesses before that are wildly successful, that do absolutely zero networking. They're not even a member of a local chamber of commerce. They don't go to B&I groups. They don't join 1 Million Cups. They're not a part of any national affiliations, but they're wildly successful. Why is that? Because they've got a compelling message. We've talked about messages before. They have a strong offer and they have a specific niche. They serve a single customer in a single market and they stand out. We've talked about finding your unique selling proposition, the 1, 2, or 3 things that only you can shout for the rooftops. Now, networking is nice. You make friends, you shake hands, you rub elbows, and you get to congratulate yourself on being the king of the universe. I think you see where I'm going right now. Networking sucks. And here's why. I want you to think for a second. I want you to look at an entire week on how much time you spend networking. Now, I know the Chamber of Commerce doesn't have lunches and events every week, but let's break this down. Let's say, for example, that you go to a Chamber of Commerce lunch one week, and it's an hour and a half. And then maybe you go to a local B&I meeting, okay? And you're the only podiatrist in that meeting. Maybe that meeting lasts you an hour and a half also. And then maybe you have your one-on-ones where you go and you network with other people who are part of your group. Maybe you do 3 of those, easy. You do 2 of those over the course of a week. Okay, so there's 2 of them. Well, then you spend time on the call, on the phone and on email, setting up some of these meetings and answering questions because people want to have meetings with you as well as meetings with them. Maybe that takes up another hour. And you can start to see where I'm going here. This is really high altitude, broad strokes, but I've got 1, 3, 4, 5. I've got 6 hours, almost a day of my week that I have spent doing nothing to make a single dime. What are your revenue generating activities? Now, here's what's going to happen. Jason, that's not true. These activities could get me money. That's right. And they're going to get you money eventually down the road. But what are you doing to build your business today, now? Remember the video where we talked about the word now? Okay. Instead, what if you took the 6 hours and you spent an hour and a half of that doing market research? What if you spent an hour and a half of that talking to a marketing consultant to get some feedback? What if you spent 2 hours out of that week putting together a Google ad strategy, looking at numbers on your website, heck, designing a website for that matter? And what if you spent an hour coming up with creative content that you can put out into the space that makes you stand apart? Remember how to save $5,000 on your next luxury cruise trip, how to save $2,000 on your next family vacation to Las Vegas, or my favorite, 3 ways to save $200 on your next Disney vacation. Wow, if you put all that content out there, this 6 hours is going to get you a greater return than 6 hours of sitting in a meeting and listening to everybody talk to themselves. So do I think networking works? Short answer, yes. I think it works. I think it has a place, but it's after you've engaged in these revenue generating activities, but you've got to limit yourself. I think networking works if you can say to yourself, I'm going to limit myself to 2 hours a week, maybe 3 hours a week. But take a look at that networking. What's your return on your investment? If that return on your investment is going to be 6 months down the road, you really have to feel if you're going to put yourself in time debt as opposed to taking part in activities that are going to achieve more success right now. You want to talk about it a little bit more, maybe you want to bump heads? I love it. Go ahead and reach out to me at themarketingprofessor.net. I have got loads of free content for you to review and share with your friends. I'm also in all the places online. Go ahead and drop me a line there. I'd love to talk to you. Thanks a lot for joining me. I'll talk to you soon. See ya.